Greetings. This is your host, Michaela Rena of Wednesday Moon. Join me each week as we learn the energy of the daily tarot reading coupled with the elements of food to help assist in our evolution, happiness, and personal well-being. Yesterday I had a little time off. It is my solar return. Yesterday was the beginning of that mark into my transition of another amazing new year, my new beginnings, and I'm so glad for it. And so I had some fun yesterday. I pulled cards for myself. Of course, I did a 3-wheel run, so I did 7 times 7 times 7, and I put candles on the 3 different types of cards all the way around. So it ended up being 9 candles around. It was just amazing. And so there was a message that was connected with the card that were lighted with the candle, as well as another message. So I would say that would be the moon energy, right? The underlying current that I was able to discern. So that was really wonderful watching how that's unfolding and seeing how the cycle is going to occur for the year for me. And I'm very well pleased. But it's just a confirmation of knowing that when you do your work, and not every day is perfect, of course, and not every day rides as smoothly as the last. However, but when you are doing that work, you find yourself to be more grounded and discerning and very observant and less emotional and sticking to the facts and allowing that information to help you to make the best next step. So that's what I did yesterday. In addition, I had fun. I made these little candles. My daughter was making fun of me. She's like, Mom, that's not how icing looks on cupcakes. Well, look, after I lick a cupcake, that's how the icing looks. So these were my little candles that I made. And I am going to light one and put it in a pretty jar, and we will, ta-da. Anyway, we will have that going because it's my birthday month. It's my solar return month. Of course we got to light a cupcake candle. So I'm going to go over here, take care of that. Just one moment. And I put them in the cute little cupcake paper, so that it's sitting cute on my plate. But I'm going to go ahead and slip it in this gorgeous candle holder that I have. There. That's, oh, do you see that? Oh, that is so gorgeous. Oh, I love things like this. This is so amazing. Okay, so I'm going to set that right there. This is my candle for the day. I have my mother candle, my protection candle going, and I burned sage, but this is so adorable. That's so pretty, and the light on that was just phenomenal. Okay. So I need to pull cards, and the cards I'm playing, actually, I need to shuffle. So you get to see this. Usually I have them shuffled beforehand. So while I'm doing that, let me discuss what I am doing today. For my meal, I am using potatoes, and of course I've got some leftovers that I'm working with, which is the green beans, because I made quite a few green beans, and I put some aside in the freezer so that I could use at a later date. And so what is that about? The potato in itself is very, very protective. The potato is grounding. The potato is connected to the moon. It's a moon and an earth element. So it's the moon, represents as far as planetary or the outer world elements. And then for the earth element, it is actually earth. And the potato it has these wonderful magical properties. I mean, if somebody wanted to make a poppet, they could make a poppet out of a potato instead of a real poppet. I mean, there's fun things you could do with a potato. If you're feeling threatened, you could actually make mashed potatoes, and you actually will mash your thoughts into those potatoes about smashing away negative energy connected to a particular person. So that is the element or the aspects of the potato. So I'm just using these brown russets right here. which are just regular old potatoes in your store. And that's the beautiful thing about the kitchen and taking those magical properties and converting them, activating them so that they do what they're supposed to do. Instead of it just physically feeding the body, I mean, you literally access all three elements or areas of your being, which is your body, the mind, and the soul. So, or spirit, that's what I want to say. So I want to add a couple of things to that. So I have my green beans. I am using a little bit of cheese, rosemary, that's protection and abundance. I love that. And we'll probably use a little bit of basil. That's definitely abundance. And I am going to use some olive oil. And the olive oil is luxurious. However, the protective properties of that is to bring a measure of calmness. So that is a very soft, calming essence to the spirit when olive oil is being used. So why is that being called into my world? What I will say, especially right here after the solar return, is that I must remain grounded. Taking care to use all my resources. That's why the green beans are coming back out of the freezer. And the virgin olive oil is to make sure to pamper myself. Make sure to stay within my limitations or to remain in moderation, but in such a way that it cares and nurtures my soul. And that's a big deal. So the first card that I pulled is with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into this. And the deck that I'm using this week is the Rider-Waite. Look at that card. Now that's really interesting. It almost looks really discouraging. However, this is past tense. It's something that we've been dealing with in the last 3 days. So we'll discuss that card in just a moment. Wow, we've got this card popping up again. So this card is the Chariot. So let's discover what that has to do with the next 3 days. That's a present card. And then this is forward, tomorrow and the next 3 days. That's kind of how I see the energy running. This is the 10 of Wands. Yeah, whatever you got that feeling right there, that's the one right there. That's pretty heavy. So let's talk about those things. So we've got the 4 of Cups. This is a past tense. Something that you've dealt with probably in the last, anywhere between 3 to 7 days, I'm going to say. And if you noticed, this young man is sitting there underneath the tree, and it's almost as if he's pouting. If you kind of notice that right there. It's like he's pouting. He's sitting there, has opportunities, and not necessarily taking advantage of all of his opportunities. He doesn't see the opportunity, even when it's coming to him in the spirit. He's not necessarily proactive about it, kind of sulking. However, the card came to us reversed. So I'm going to tell you that this is a good thing. This is a release of conditions. And I always go with that first, because that's where we eventually end up evolving to, learning how to release certain things of the conditions of the mind, the hang-ups in the head. So, but this would definitely mean that you're now taking advantage of information, and taking advantage of information. I'm going to tell you that this is definitely connected to acknowledging disappointment. The cloud always makes me think of time, and we know time and space, really there's no such thing. However, it is a paradigm that we have the illusion of, and so that right there could be that you feel like you were wasting your time with something, and it's okay that you acknowledge that. Maybe someone was wasting your time, or something was wasting your time. You're just thinking, why did I even spend any unnecessary energy on this particular person or event or experience? That's what that card's about. And it's interesting in looking at the card, because it's a person who's sitting solitary, still really hasn't accepted their role in it, or they're still behaving, and that's still that same sort of behavior. And so if that is you, then I would just suggest that you readjust yourself and just move on. Like, let certain things go and just move on. It's not necessary to brood over it, because it's already happened. And so now you need to deal with the results so that you can move forward and have a better plan of action. Now, the next card is the Chariot. Now, when I first saw the Chariot, I thought, when I kind of was thinking, why is this Chariot back up? Why are we dealing with something that is just a transition? However, I didn't get that this time. This time, when I looked at that card, I said, this is about strategy. This is what this card is. This is, how do you strategize? Look at the intense look upon his face. He's riding in the Chariot, and he is really looking for discernment. And the number of this card is 7. So we're looking at taking an individual assessment of a circumstance or situation, and then making the best evaluation of it, and then moving forward. So that's what's going on right now. Today, actually, is that energy where you will need to more or less figure out how to maneuver through a specific task or obstacle. It is about your strategy. That is what that card is referring to today, the strategy. And how is it going to get you the best results to get you where you are going? Now, it's very interesting that he's got the lions at the bottom, the lion figure, and we got the black and the white. So, but what I'm going to say, he's sitting in the middle, and not everything is black and white. So you're really going to need to assess the information so that you can develop the best strategy for whatever the issue is that's happening today. Okay, I'm not even going to say this is practicality about travel or something with your car. As I looked at that card immediately, and I just said, oh, okay, this is about strategizing, like literally figuring out how we make something work. And what I am going to tell you is that the Chariot is usually successful unless it's upside down. So I'm going to say that whatever it is that you end up creating, or what you assess through what you've got to work with, will be successful or is successful. Okay. Now, the next card, which is the last card, is the 10 of Wands. I want you to check out that card. Is it a heavy card? Absolutely. That's a heavy card. Just exactly the way you felt when you saw it is exactly what's going on. So this is a burden that, excuse me, let me wash my hands really fast. This is a burden that has, I'm going to say, in this case, this burden is something you did not plan on. And it's emotional because it's in front of you still, and you still need to figure out how to process that. You're carrying it, and you're carrying it all by yourself. And not necessarily knowing how you should be able to move forward, although you have to keep walking. And that is what the next 3 days are about. Discerning what your options are and how to release some of that burden. And doing it so that you're still able to keep your stability. If you notice right there, the stability, that's why their homes are right there. To keep your place. But moving forward, if you notice that the way that he's positioned there, he's got to push forward because there's definitely an obstacle that is burdensome. However, there's growth on the wands. So what I'm going to say is that the burden isn't necessarily a bad thing. The burden just is part of the responsibility, part of the journey. And so now what I will say is that the burden may become heavy because there is foliage that is now popping out. There are other issues that are connected to that burden. So, and if you notice that, which I find is interesting, he's the coloring, the red is at the bottom, which might mean that there could be some, even in having to walk this particular path, some resentment. And however, the person doesn't necessarily want to stay in resentment, because if you notice his undergarment is white, which really he is that he's coming to a place where he can be at peace in his heart over that responsibility or over this course. It's just now learning how to use those wands to his advantage so that he can support whatever it is that he needs to as he moves forward. That's the next 3 days, okay? So that burden could be a job, that could it could have to do with family, because I do see the houses there. And what I will say is that when you're dealing with your family members, and we know that can always be unpredictable, but when you're dealing with your family members, take everything into consideration. And what I would say is release any judgments, because you never know what really is going on at the heart of the matter. And so you want to stay where you are, as like the white that he has in his undergarment. He just is really remaining at peace with whoever it is that he's dealing with and with himself, just to be in a peaceful place. It's really important. So good. Now, of course, we have the affirmation of the day. I'm sitting here, and my cupcake candle is, I just need to show you this because it is just so gorgeous. I put that cupcake candle, I'm going to show you what it looked like before. Okay, just 1 second. Let me get a cute one. My daughter said, Mom, icing doesn't look like that. I told her, well, like I said earlier, when I lick a cupcake, yes, it does. So that's what it looked like before. Okay, and that in there. I put it inside, and it's burning fairly well. I'm going to say this probably will burn something like, I would say about 7 hours. So I'm really excited. And if it burns a little shorter, then that just lets me know, I need to make them a little bit bigger, because I like them to burn for the day. If I light a candle, I want it to burn for the full entire day. Anyways, this is so cute. Okay, so now let's get to the affirmation. I'm sitting here multitasking. Let me get my salt out really quick. Of course, we've got salt. We use salt. That's your protection, and that's. I just want to say a basic protection that we will use for ourselves. So I just want to do that really quick before I go ahead and read this affirmation. Thank you so very much. These are going to be so delicious. And I will bake the potato flats. I'm going to bake that for about 45 minutes at 350. And probably give or take, maybe even 30 minutes. But again, it's just some leftovers that I had frozen. The green beans, mushrooms, onions, etc. And I'm going to lay those across with a little bit of cheese and rosemary sprinkled on the top. And that is going to be part of my meal for the evening. So, very good. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this affirmation. Ready? Now, the affirmations are 3 times 3 times 3. That's 3 times a day, for the next 3 days, okay? And this will actually help to activate any resources that you may need, any sort of circumstances that need to come to you so that you can actually move forward in the next 3 days. And whatever energy that may be activated negatively based on what we see in the cards can be diffused easily and quickly based on those affirmations. Okay, this one is, you are resourceful and persistent. Your consistent action gives you favorable results now. Yes, this is true. I am resourceful and persistent. My consistent action gives me favorable results now. Ashe, Oshe, Ashe. Well, I am really glad to connect with you, especially a day after the beginning of my new solar return year. This is so amazing. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen. Make sure to inbox me and inquire within. I will talk with you soon. Ashe.